This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody, and welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast, where I'm here with my only friends. And today is real fucking special because my boy Matthew Hunt, he's doing it, baby.
Hey, you got it right. Nice job. You worked it in there twice.
What'd I do?
The correct pronunciation is special. I'm proud of you, man.
I did?
We're making strides.
I said it right?
Strides. Let's go,
Yes!
baby. Team is on fire this week.
Guys,
Conrad's improving the vocab. Matt Hunt's about to win the $4 million.
We're rolling, baby.
He did drop an F-bomb too, like in the very first 15 seconds or something.
Did.
I was like, wow.
You know something? I just realized I do that often.
That's also why we have the 5-minute countdown so that we don't get pegged. Like if you swear in the first 30 seconds, they'll demonetize you. But if you have a 5-minute countdown ahead of time, you didn't swear.
Oh, that's so genius.
Big brain over here.
That's so genius because I can't help myself.
Yeah, you're unhinged. I can't keep you on track. I know how it works. I'm trying to build in buffers, not hold you down,
I appreciate that, bro.
Oh, man, sorry. So there's a little bit of construction going on in the background. They're tearing down some tables. They're building a secondary stage. It looks like they're going to have a third feature table up and running today for the final. What are they down to? 53?
52.
52.
Mm-hmm.
8-handed event. So my quick math tells me that's roughly 7 tables, I believe. So about half of them will be on feature. We might get a little Matt Hunt TV time up there.
Yeah.
I think he got like an hour of live stream play so far, and no one knows who he is, man. He's flying under the radar. Not one picture taken of him. Not one hand history written. He's just a ghost in this thing.
With those shades.
Yeah.
He came in hard with those shades.
He comes in hot. Listen, he has a freshly new tattoo. He's a new man.
That's
right?
Flame the Terminator.
What? I'm sorry. What?
Flame the Terminator.
You're not good at nicknames. You were just, it's not. Stick to your shtick. Like, make acronyms for things. That's kind of your thing,
I want to ask you guys about something that I found out midway through the day yesterday.
I'm scared.
And I'm curious from poker players who have enough money to buy into things here and there, 25Ks. So Sammy Calipuro, who, by the way, a lot of the media did not know who he was. I was like, is this dating me or what's Sammy Calipuro is a pretty famous poker player, right?
I only know him via Henry.
I have zero idea who he is, and I look at all of
I didn't know prior to yesterday.
Okay. So he's a pretty, I thought, well-known high-stakes
kind of a big deal
PLO player. I think he's Finnish. I would think your Norwegian heritage would have made you guys basically brothers.
That's true. We're almost close.
But he was gone for maybe 4 or 5 hours of the day, and nobody knew where he was. And eventually someone discovered that he had food poisoning and, had just decided to blind off. And, some people responded, there's nothing that would keep me from at least attempting to try to play a 25K with pay jumps, etc. in the spot that we were in. And I was like, well, he's got money. Maybe. Is there a spot where you guys ever blind off?
Well,
in a 25K
not
that deep?
To be crass, but food poisoning comes in many forms. And,
there's not options sometimes.
Right, like if you're vomiting, it's not great, but we can figure this out. Perhaps there are garbage cans. But if you're squirting, I'm not playing this event. I'm not going to shit myself in public. I'm sorry.
All right, so
I'm just not.
Day 4 of the main, either day 3 or day 4 of the main, my first main 2 years ago. I'm in my chair and I go like this. And some lady walks by me, and I'm friendly with everybody, all the dealers and everybody. So I thought I had headphones in. So I thought she was just saying, "Hey, whatever." So I laugh as she walks away, and everybody at my table just starts staring at me. And I'm like, take off my headphones. I'm like, "What's the issue? What's going on?" They're like, "She went to go get security," and I was just like, "What?" So she comes back, and now she's got Charlie. Everybody knows Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mafia Charlie.
Charlie doesn't know me, right?
Bulldog.
Charlie is the bulldog. He's getting soft, by the way. I told him that the other day. So Charlie the bulldog comes on over, and he's like, "Can you please step away from the table with me?" I'm like, "No, what did I do?" He's like, can you please step away from the table, man? I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. So we walk out over to the hallway, kind of. And he's like, were you vaping in this room? Well, at first, the lady also comes. And she's like, he smells like a bunch of marijuana. And I'm like, he's like, were you vaping in this room?
This is the biggest Karen you've ever met in poker. Like, there's a poker Karen, too.
So I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I was not vaping in the room right at this moment. And she's like, well, have you ever vaped in this room? I was like, well, this wasn't right now, so what does it matter? So we get into an argument back and forth, and I'm just livid because I did nothing at this moment. And, when I do something, I'll be like, okay, I did it. I'm sorry, whatever, move on. But I did nothing. So I was extremely upset. So I decided to take an hour-and-a-half extended break before dinner. And I just walked away and went to go hang out in the RV.
On day 4 of the main.
Yes.
And you went and vaped in the RV, obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I was so livid that I was just like, there's no point in me being at my seat.
Meanwhile, I'm on the feature table with Chance, and like every third hand, he's like waiting for the camera to cut to the main feature and just like takes a step off stage and is just like vaping in his hands.
I was so livid because I just see him. He's like on the side table and he's
There's just a cloud of mist above him at all times.
And I'm
On
just
the table in front of everyone.
Like on a feature with the cameras rolling and everything.
and I'm doing nothing.
Well, you're black in public. That's a problem.
It's a rough life out here, man.
You're Norwegian.
That's why in Bahamas, I'm accepted. They don't yell at me around here.
True.
They actually give me head nods and shit.
I feel I feel kind of bad. I don't think that anything's gonna happen from this, but I came home yesterday and there's this guy outside like our Airbnb yard.
Okay.
And he has what I would estimate to be like a 15 to 20 foot fashioned metal pole, and he's just stabbing a coconut tree.
I saw this
in
guy
our front yard, and I'm like, well, that's weird lawn care, but okay. Whatever. I don't think too much of it. And as I pull into the driveway, he's like, my man, you like coconut water? Like, no, I don't want any fucking coconut water, man.
Wait.
Get out of here. Like, these are my coconuts. Like, if I wanted coconut water, I'd climb the tree. I was like, I don't want any coconut water. I have no money, no dollars. Everything plastic. Leave me alone. And he's like, no, I don't want any money. I don't want any money. I'm just trying to feed my family. Can I go in your backyard and get those coconuts? And I'm like, what? And he points to this coconut tree that we have in our backyard, and it has like 100 coconuts on it. I'm just like,
Go.
yeah, I don't give a shit. Go ahead.
Hurry up, please.
What a hustler. He's going to take those coconuts out and find someone with some dollars.
Yeah, and I like give him a wink and nod. I'll be like, I'll leave the gate unlocked.
I don't live here.
I leave here Friday. If you want to come back Saturday, gate's unlocked.
It's all yours, man. It's crazy. How much do you think he sells each coconut for?
I don't, $1?
No way. They're on the beach like hustling those things. They're definitely like $10 a piece.
Maybe.
Yep.
I wonder. I don't know enough about coconuts. Like, I thought they had to be ripe enough to fall before they were, truly edible.
No.
He was like taking
you can
the green
totally
ones.
go up there and get them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can't go up there and
But
get
then
them,
do
but
they,
someone
like,
can.
do they like ripen off the branch? Like they can't just instantly be ripe because a coconut has formed.
I don't know that the milk. I think you can have the milk even if they're not ripe per
Right.
se. I might
What's
be
the
wrong.
difference between coconut milk and coconut juice?
I don't think coconut juice
Or coconut
is a thing.
water. Sorry, coconut water. Coconut water. My apologies.
I think they're the same thing.
I think they're not, but I don't know.
But coconut.
truly
No, wait.
don't
I
know.
think coconut milk is like a construct of like a can. Like it's like with
it's some
sugar
of the, it's some
and
of the
something
meat.
else.
Maybe it's like some of the meat
Yeah.
that's like pressed and squeezed.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
it's
know.
good. It's good.
Yeah, coconuts are great.
Yeah.
They're absolutely delicious.
And good for you. Welcome to the Bahamas. everyone.
Nutritious and delicious.
Mhm.
Well, we have a big event going on. I don't know if anybody knows, but we're about to hit day 4 of the PSPC main event, PokerStars Player Championship. $4 million up top, and we got a little pony in the race, baby. Matt Hunt, the man, the myth, the legend, the white flame, as we like to refer to him. Yeah.
Did
that's
you not
right.
just know?
No, you are bad at
There's
nicknames.
no way you get to call him the White Flame
First of all-
after I just called him the Flame Terminator and you said no.
First of all, we've been calling him this since he got second in the bracelet back in 2018.
It wasn't the White Flame, it was just Flame.
No, Nick Howard called him the White Flame. So
I don't like
that's
this.
what we're going with, because white flames burn hotter, Conrad. That's why. Okay.
No,
Do you
but he
understand?
terminates people's lives.
Stop.
He's the Terminator.
Oh my God, you're the worst.
Flame the Terminator.
Chat, let us know.
Thank you, Guapa.
Can we get
I feel like
Conrad off the show? Is
The
that
shades
possible?
have real Terminator vibes.
Don't encourage this, Sarah. He is a nightmare to work
The
with.
problem is Berkey's just always wrong in these type of situations, so I just need like buffers around, like the chat, Sarah, Guapo, like all these people that are around me. I thank you guys so
The
much.
problem is the real problem is everybody loves the village idiot. That's the real problem.
Boom, roasted. Wow.
I mean, listen, man.
You
And just
are-
because you're always wrong
You're
and like
welcome.
you just want to
Like,
use different
you're the
ways.
Pied Piper.
Listen, man, you can shape
With
this
your- with your-
however you
with your little
want.
fiddle.
You can shape it however
Sarah,
you
did
want.
you know
man.
the fiddle is in fact a wind instrument?
I'm familiar, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I can play the fiddle for you.
It's a wind instrument.
Do, 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 do,
This is
do,
the
This
do,
is
fourth
the
time.
fiddle. This is the
Yeah,
fiddle.
this is the fiddle. This is the fourth time he's played the fiddle this week. We are out of material, ladies and gentlemen. We're just done. It's over. Cut. Wrap. So 25K, 4 million up top, 53 people remain. We're going to be joined by Hunt later on to talk a little bit about his run, so I won't put too much emphasis on him. But there are a lot of names still left in this field. Chip leader is Peter Kalev from Bulgaria, who I'm not familiar with, but he's chip leading, just the biggest event in the world right now. So I imagine he's going to do a little bit of work. Only 84 big blinds. So for as amazing as this structure is, and we can talk a little bit about this when Hunt gets here, they had a torturous bubble. Dan Smith tweeted something yesterday that was just max copium, which is it's always a little relieving when you bust near the money in an event and then the bubble takes an eternity to break. And I just replied like, that's max copium, but I busted right around the same time you did, so I'm here for it. Because I get it. Like we busted 4.5 hours before the bubble broke and it was like 30 out of the money, which seems really close. So that seems to have done a lot of work on the structure itself. And I think that this event, much like the win, what I want to call it, the WPT Championship. I wanted to call it the Millions, but it was like, the win 30 millions or whatever the fuck it was. It's such a major event with such a massive prize pool that I don't think the structure ever catches up. Like people just continue to play slow. Or like in the main event, because of the 2-hour levels, eventually like the structure will just slow back down because you have 15 blinds. People don't realize how much time you actually have in the main, and they see all of these chips around them. The chip leader just like tends to have 100, 150 blinds the whole way throughout. I can see a world where we make this final table and the chip leader has like 65 bigs. And that's neither a criticism nor a congratulations. It's just an observation, but it means that it's anybody's game. So when we look at the top 10, some other notable names, Dylan DeStefano, a.k.a. Wagons, a young man from Vegas. Well, he lives in Vegas now. I think he's from the East Coast somewhere.
He's definitely from the East Coast.
He's third in chips. Dominic Nietzsche is fourth in chips. Mr. DTO himself out there putting it to work. Our one and only Matt Hunt, seventh in chips. And my indirect nemesis, Tommy Nguyen, is 10th in chips.
Oh, that's the guy that you folded to.
That's the guy I folded a full house to the last time I was
you
here.
You literally haven't folded a full house like your whole life until that one hand.
Yep.
That was
What is it? What is it? Debo's theorem or something like that?
Debo. The only
Not Debo. Whatever.
the
There's
only
an old
Debo I
2+2.
know is from next Friday.
Yeah,
Or
I
Friday.
know. There's an old 2+2 thread. I can't remember what the actual title of it is, but it's just like never fold a full house, or people don't fold full houses. I folded a full house. It was the last time I was here for PCA main event 2019, I guess, was the last time it ran.
Yeah.
With like 45 left, Tommy got me to fold 9s full on ace, 9.
I was sick.
In a single raise spot.
I had 2% of you. I was so sick.
I ended up getting 14th.
Did he show?
You could have won.
Do you know? Did you ask
we
him?
were on the TV table. He had queen 10 of spades.
Yeah.
It was ace, 9, 2 spades, turn king. So I check raise flop. I defended big blind, check raise flop. Turn was a king. I don't love that card. I checked, he bet, I called. River was the jack of spades. I checked, and he like all but put me all in. I'm just like, well, I mean, he has to have a full house. This would be insane to do it with a flush.
Were you familiar with him and
No,
any other?
not at all.
But he is your nemesis now, so.
Well, I say that very like lovingly. Like I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well. I have actually no competitive spirit against him. That's the only time we've played, and I ended up like going really deep in the event anyway. I was chip leader like 4 orbits later.
I'm shocked how stacked the field is. Every time I'm walking around the room, I'm just like...
You're shocked?
It's crazy.
It's $25,000 buy.
Okay, but there was 400 and some change people who were not. And of course, like the cream rises to the top. I get it.
Cream rises.
I get it, but maybe it's just from the coverage from the last 4 days. There are people I didn't even realize were in the tournament that are now, like almost everyone in here is. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Fedor's still in there. He was top 10 in chips most of the day.
Yeah.
Kind of took a big hit towards the end. Bagged 800K. Chance is still in the field.
Jeremy Osmus.
Yeah.
Osmus is just the best.
These are guys that this is like nut crunching time, and these are the guys who do work. Like guys like Jeremy, Chance, Fedor. Like when they are still around with 5 tables, it's a concern.
Yeah.
Daniel DeVoris is
still in.
I didn't even know he was here, and then I was like, "What? Daniel DeVoris is in?"
He's kind of incognito right now. He's like fully masked up.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of him yesterday, and I would never been able to pick him out of a crowd.
Anna Marquez.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, maybe we can go to the pool when I bust this tournament," and here we are, day 4. Sam Grafton, being quiet.
I think Anna Marquez is out.
Really?
I thought she was.
If she is, it's Poker News' fault.
Wow, we're gonna throw shade like that. We're gonna be joined now by a very special guest. I think he's coming in somewhere in the top 20 in chips. He's trying to replicate what he did way back in 2003, started another Moneymaker effect. We're joined by Chris MoneyMaker, coming in hot.
Actually, why don't you come here, Chris? Let's make a sandwich out of you.
They told me to come here.
Yeah, and then I told you to come here.
Actually, I have something on the contract. Sit next.
I need you to, we want to make a little sandwich out of you.
He's a little bit too much of a hyper individual for myself.
Chris, congrats on day 4, man. You're really out there doing work. We're proud of you.
Well, thank you. It was fun. Good tournament, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, now I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
No, it was fun. Had a tough table on day 4 or whatever day I busted. But yeah, it's always nice to get a cash.
Oh, you died.
Yeah. I thought
you died.
Busted.
No, I knew he died. I was running the long con. He wasn't playing along. It's not fun.
Oh, he did you dirty.
Now listen, I just woke up like literally an hour ago at the big best, so I'm not really like in there yet. So
all right, this is perfect. That means that you are
no
up
rapid
for
fire
slaughter.
questions, none of this stuff.
I told Sarah, I was like, I don't really know Chris all that well outside of like some email exchange, but he's really snarky, so I'm probably just gonna end up roasting him.
Listen, I'm the most genuine, nice person you'll ever.
I totally agree.
What the hell? Conrad, you don't
They're
know
not
me that well
mutually
either.
exclusive.
I mean, I would get it if Sarah laughed at me, but
But you know what I said? I was like, I feel like Chris is the type of guy we can just like have a good rapport. We can just talk shit, and he's gonna talk shit back, and we're just having a great time.
A good what?
Good rapport.
Oh, nice. You got it.
it's a big word.
I'm getting
you
there.
got it.
You know, if you need me to teach you the English language, I'm here for you, Matt Berkey. Like literally, you know what? After this, I'll give you a 30-minute lesson.
I appreciate
$1,000.
And I get that. Oh, never mind.
$2,000 for you.
I was going to ask for the lesson, then you quoted the price, and I have to go back. I think Babbel's cheaper.
You can send me ACR. It's fine.
You can.
Oh, you want to? I thought, oh, good. I don't have to pay you. That's good.
You guys can just play the rat hole PLO table.
What's that?
You guys can just play the rat hole PLO tables.
There we go.
Let's go.
How has that whole endeavor been treating you so far?
I'm loving it. It's been a fantastic adventure. You know, obviously I was with Poker Stars for 17 years, which was incredible. But I'm really happy to be with America's Card Room. But I can't do my water.
Yeah. Did they teach you anything at Poker Stars? Did they give you media training?
There's this guy that used to work with me by the name of Eric, and he did not do his job very well, obviously.
Is that Eric right there?
Yeah, that's Eric.
Oh, okay,
right over there.
I was just making sure.
Yeah, he did not do his job very
Finger
appropriately
pointing,
because,
unreal.
well, they didn't really give us water back then. That's a new thing I got here. No, but ACR's been fantastic. We're making a lot of changes, doing a lot of good things. Really happy working with the company. Can't say enough good things about him.
What's it like being back to your first PCA where you're not a Stars rep?
Honestly, it kind of feels just like, you know, I belong here, and, you know, they were all super friendly. I mean, seeing a bunch of old faces, a bunch of old friends. They still took care of me. They busted my chops pretty good, but I expected that.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, The biggest obviously change is being in this new venue. Not being at the Atlantis, but everything else was just like being kind of a homecoming, seeing all the old faces, like I said, and
You miss the water slides, don't you?
What's that?
You miss the water slides?
I haven't even done them yet.
Come on, man.
I got my daughter and her friend. We're going to the water slides after this.
You've been coming here for 17 years.
No, I do the water slides all the time. I haven't done them this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like you miss them from Atlantis.
I do. And they went to the Atlantis yesterday. I was going to take them over there again today, but they decided they want to stay here.
What
and
am I missing? There's like an amazing water slide that I can only see it. Like
Sarah,
I can see it from far. It's giant.
It's right here.
They don't let you out of here to go do it?
No, I got to be here working. I put in the work.
There are sharks, okay?
At
the
Atlantis? Yeah, okay. All right,
like-
that's fair.
yeah.
But I'm like, why would
A
you
lot of
ever
people
leave
swim
this
them.
place? There's like slides and lazy rivers and beaches and things.
The beach is really nice here.
I haven't been to the beach yet. I passed all this up to come do this stuff with you for whatever reason.
Huge.
I mean,
Terrible error in
Love
judgment.
of the game.
Terrible error in judgment.
I'm learning that really quickly. And it's like, okay, I could be on the beach doing slides, having fun with my daughter, or I could be here with you clowns.
Well, what we saved you from
We're
was
here for
falling
you.
asleep on said beach,
true.
getting sunburnt, and probably buried up to your neck by your daughter.
Well, the good thing is at least I would look like I was at the Bahamas for a week
That's true.
instead of like looking like I do now.
That is true. We got a couple more days still. You're here till Saturday, I assume?
I'll leave tomorrow.
Oh, okay, me too. Unfortunate. We got to get a little sun before we get out of here.
Yeah, you definitely need some sun.
I know. I mean, it's not cutting.
Well, I'm not exactly over here like baking. Yeah.
That fair Norwegian skin, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Rub it
Burns
in.
easily.
But you did make the money yesterday, right? You made it through this like 4-hour bubble.
It was only 3, and I watched the entire movie during the bubble. Like literally, the bubble, like they started pausing and stuff. Like, all right, this is ridiculous. I had lost a big hand right on the bubble. Got unfortunate with Ace King versus Set on an Ace High board, and thank God the guy didn't bust me, but it left me pretty short. So there really wasn't a whole lot I could do. I had 110,000 on the bubble, so I just opened up my iPad and watched a movie, and I literally watched the entire movie on the bubble.
That's a pro
It's
move
sick.
right there. That's a pro move. You like get short. You're sitting there with like 10 big blinds, and you just look around the table, and you put the iPad out. You're just like, enjoy, boys. I'm stalling from now on.
I'll see you guys later.
I didn't even have to stall because like we're already hand for hand. So I was like, listen. I looked at my first card, and I'll be honest, if it wasn't a king or an ace, I just looked at it. Move on to the next one. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Nice.
Did you find that stalling was an overall issue?
Not too bad. My table's pretty quick.
And full of pros still. There are some pros who are still down to keep the game going.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't any shaming at our table, but people were like, "It's on you." We're like, "Yeah, we know." And like, it was some small stalling. I did stall for my first time ever that I can remember, when there was 244 people up, because there was an extra 5,000 jump. I was down to 45,000 in chips, and there was a $5,000 bump, and I was on the button with a hand that I was going to play. I had Jack Queen. And I knew I was going to get called, so I waited till the 243 number popped up on the screen to get the extra 5K if I were to bust.
Super sharp.
You mean 143, correct?
Like it.
143. That's it.
I remember a time that you stalled. It was a pretty epic one, actually.
That was not stalling.
In the main event with Johnny Chan and Howard Lederer.
That was not stalling.
These guys.
Okay, first of all, it's happened twice to me in the main event. That one, and then there's another one on dinner break where I'm playing with Primordial Ace, and he's in the tank for so long. And finally, I say to him, I don't really call the clock, but like, you've been in the tank for like 5 minutes. He goes, "Oh, I checked 5 minutes ago." I'm like, and this was caught on camera during the, as we're going on dinner break, because they thought we were all in this like super tank mode, like big pot. And,
Everyone's just
he's like,
waiting for the other guy to ask. Oh my gosh, that's
That
amazing.
is so great.
How polite by him to not say anything to you.
We were both being super polite now, but he didn't check. It was an angle, I think. So,
Oh.
but anyways, no, I guess we were trying to both be super polite because
Okay.
I didn't say anything for the longest time. I'm like, listen, man, I don't call the clock on people. It's like, I respect it. It's a big decision. We have a lot of money in the pot, but like, it's been a long time.
That's incredible.
You're keeping me from eating that.
Do you have like a go-to kind of time limit where you're like, all right, there's like, it's time to, like 5 minutes, the decision should have been made by now, or it's so situational?
It's situational. I mean, if a guy's abusing it, like, there'll be, obviously there are people that are known tankers, and if, they're doing it, then I'll wait literally 30 seconds to be like, clock. But, I mean, again, I don't really ever call the clock. I'm going to respect someone's time to make a good decision because, everybody tells me poker's hard. I don't really think it is, but everybody says it's hard. So some people want to think. They give me all those time bank things for like the mystery bounty the other day. I'm like, I don't need these. I don't think long enough to like actually use
I thought
them.
they were drink coasters.
You damn right. That's what they were.
That's what I thought.
Man.
What about you guys? Like, you're bored a lot of the time in live poker anyways.
So, funny enough, I never call the clock on anybody until this trip because I will never not call the clock on somebody that's like shows me that they're a serial tanker. Or just just always deep in thought. Like, I'm just going to call a clock on people. Like, I waited, I don't know. I complained about it like 9 times already, but we played like 13 hands in maybe an hour and a half the other day, and I lost it after like a 7-minute tank. So
it's not
wouldn't be
about
calling
the
clock at that
length
point.
of the tank. It's about the amount of times that someone is in a spot where they're tanking.
yes.
Okay.
That's what it is more for me. Because like sometimes, you have one-off situations where you just like, you start thinking. You just have to think. And like, that's fine. But when it comes around every single time, no. We're calling clock from now on like this.
Well, see, I've never played with Berkey before, but he looks like a tanker to me. I don't think
He
tanks,
takes
but
forever. He always like tries to do these things, like these like tries to like
He's thinking.
connect dots
It's
and
not
shit.
really fair. He's thinking.
I
And
don't,
that's not
I don't
really
know
fair
what they're
for-
talking about. I'm probably one of the fastest players.
I'm just
on
saying you
Earth.
look like a
Oh, yeah,
thinker.
that's fair.
So
It's
the-
that sweater.
the
It's
best
that
Berkey
sweater
The
for
sweater
sure.
does actually make
We'll
it.
get back to the sweater, but the best
It's
Berkey
too
story
cold.
is they're on the bubble like the 10K LAPC or
Oh my
something
God.
like that. And Berkey has piles or whatever.
No, I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry, you were short.
I had 22 blinds. We're literally 3 out of the money at LAPC main event. Dennis Blyden's at my table.
Yeah.
And is like chip leading and folding nothing. But also just like not trying to abuse the bubble. He's like limping a bunch. And I just see it as a really good spot. Like, I think he's terrible, and I'm just going to try to win chips off of him. Christian is 1 table over from me, has the same stack, and is like getting dealt a hand and then walking a lap around the room before coming back and folding. Because like, his whole table has agreed to tank to get into the money, and I'm sitting here like turbo mucking, trying to get my next hand in. Dennis Blyden busts me literally on the stone bubble. And then goes up to Christian and goes, yeah, I busted your buddy on the bubble. I'm just going to give you a 1% free roll, and then wins it.
And hands him 10,000.
So this asshole's tanking to make the money, gets a 1% free roll from the guy who wins it for an additional 10,000. I'm hitting the rail 2 out of the money because I was playing fast.
How often when you
Big
go
brain.
deep into the tank, do you think you make a decision that's different than sort of your initial gut reaction? And is it usually right when you think for that
Think
long?
long, think wrong. It's always wrong.
I mean, people say
always
this, and I'm wondering, has that been your experience?
No, I would say it's like 50-50. I don't think that there's any discernible difference. There have been plenty of times where like I've sussed something out, or like some variable has changed throughout the course of the tank. And then there's plenty of others where it's just like, this is a fold, this is a fold, this is a fold. I call.
Yeah.
And
Anytime
then
it's
just
over
like-
30 seconds for me, it's wrong. Like, if I hit like 30 seconds to a minute, I should say a minute. If it's over a minute, I'm just wrong. Like, if I make the call in between that minute time, I'm probably like 60-40.
I don't ever think I've spent over a minute on a decision. The only thing I do, I look for certain things after about 20 seconds, and that generally helps my decisions. And if it's big spots, I knock on wood, usually make the right decision. I had a guy yesterday, we were playing the cash game, and I called him with in 1 second, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm beaten." I'm like, "Oh no, you're good." He's like, "But you called so fast." Like, well, I know what I was gonna do. Like, why am I gonna waste your time? Like, I could sit here and act or whatever, but I know what I'm gonna do. So let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Next
that
hand.
saves so when I do have to wait 30 seconds to get good information. But yeah, generally, if I take my time, I feel like I make the right decision most times.
You and Conrad played together in the main a couple years ago. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I
Were you
owned
guys
his
the same
life.
feature table?
Yeah, I owned him.
No, we've never played. I don't think we've ever played. Honestly, I don't remember.
You don't remember the 10, what was it, 10-5 deuce turn? Oh, man, I forgot it now.
Yeah, so he forgot it.
But all I know is I had ace-10, you had fours.
Let's try to make a hand up here. Let's see. What sounds good? Okay, yeah, I had ace-10. And no, I had ace king, and I bluffed him off, and that sounds really cool.
Chris, I think you left the table after.
What was it? Break?
I think you had to exit the table, my friend.
It was break. I mean, yeah, we all leave on breaks.
I mean, your break it was a little extended.
All right, guys. Listen, poker players live for a living. I don't know. I don't understand why Conrad would be doing this.
Here's the real issue: is that when you're Chris MoneyMaker, everybody remembers the hand that they played against you, the time that they busted you, whatever the case may be. No one remembers busting Conrad. They just send him to the rail.
I honestly don't remember ever playing with Conrad. I was gonna say, I've never played with either one of you guys. It's definitely not. Conrad.
This is what happens when you put on a poster, guys.
You just forget. you forget people.
Forget all the little people.
Listen, I don't forget all the little people. Just some of the ones that like to poke fun at me and think that they're funny, but wake me up in the morning.
We can agree on this. He is definitely not funny.
No,
not at all.
No,
I think that's why he laughs at himself in hopes that it will be contagious enough that others will catch on.
I do like his laugh. I do laugh at his laugh. So.
Guys, I am fucking hilarious. I just want to let you guys both know that. And
for poker, you might be funny.
Right. Yeah, you're poker funny.
That's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to be a comedian. I'm just me.
Well, if we have played together, it wasn't memorable enough, so you might want to have a backup career. I don't know.
Check the tape.
Don't worry.
So
I'll send you the video.
When you were making the decision to move over to ACR, was there a time frame or was there a period of consideration where once leaving Stars, you were kind of just maybe this is my way out. Maybe it's time to move on from poker, move on from the MoneyMaker boom and kind of look at the next chapter in your life?
No, I mean, honestly, that wasn't really it at all. So, obviously, during that time, we were going through a pandemic. We had to stay at home. We couldn't travel. I couldn't play Poker Stars from where I lived. And America's Card Room was the only choice I had to play on. So I started playing on America's Card Room during the pandemic. And I ended up final tabling the Venom, which is their big tournament. And when you final table that, the CEO calls you and congratulates you and wishes you well. Well, Bill called me up, and he's a little. He almost sounds like Conrad on the other line. He's giggling. Is this who I think it is? I'm like, yeah, it's me. How you doing? Nice to meet you. He's like, oh, I'm a big fan. This is Bill Nagy, by the way. So we'll clip this. He's like, I'm a really big fan. And he's in the office telling people, I'm on the phone with Chris MoneyMaker. So
this is the guy who's signing the checks now, right?
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
So we have a good conversation, and I'm like, I'm not really, supposed to be playing on ACR, but with extenuating circumstances, I think it's okay, but don't out my screen name or whatever. I signed up as myself, but it was a hidden screen name that wasn't Money 800 or whatever. And he's like, no, you have nothing to worry about. We don't tell people's identities if you don't, he was really cool about it. But that started the conversation. That was in August of during the pandemic. We were in lockdown or whatever.
2018.
Yeah, 2018. And
2020.
I was like, did you just make that up?
Yes.
That just ran with
2020.
it, didn't I?
Yeah.
It was 2020. Yeah,
2020.
Yeah, I just ran right with it. Listen, I don't know timelines, but whatever.
Yeah, me neither.
So we started the conversation from there, and he's like, what would it take for you to leave Stars? I'm like, I mean, honestly, I'm real happy with Stars. I don't think I would leave. I've been with her for 17 years, and whatever, it's good. He's like, well, we can negotiate. Just give me a number.
Yes.
So
those are the kind of conversations
yeah,
we're trying to have.
All right, well, I'll give you a number. So I made up a real bad number, a high number, and he just goes, okay. I'm like, what? What do you mean, okay?
He put the
Man.
bag on the table.
Yeah, he did. He goes, okay. And I was like,
Ship it to Nagy. Let's go.
well, and it just so happened that my contract with Poker Stars was coming up in December for renewal. And I had been filming in London prior to COVID, this whole new promotion they were coming out with. It was Hands with the Moneymaker. And I had been in the studio repeating over and over, D, 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 hey, wow. Just hours and hours of repeating the same words over and over so they could put it into this animated graphic of my head, which would scare me. I saw it. So they had this huge promotion planned, which really stinks because they forgot to actually sign me to the deal going forward. So it was kind of funny with the, PokerStars, generally how it had worked for 17 years, I would get a call from, someone and say, hey, we were going to renew. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's go. And that was our negotiation. Well, it came up this time. It's like, yeah, we're going to renew. I'm like, well, we got to talk about that. I think I'm going to be leaving. And they're like, oh, well, what do you mean you're going to be leaving? It's like, yeah, I kind of struck a deal. I was like, well, how can we discuss, what we can do to keep you? I'm like, yeah, there's no really discussing what, I've already made the deal, and the deal's kind of done. And, honestly, PokerStars was really cool. They're like, yeah, we appreciate all you've done. And they were super appreciative and super respectful and really supportive. I couldn't say anything nicer about how they handled it. And, again, that's why I have so many friends.
I wonder what they would say.
What's
about
that?
how you handled it.
What's that?
I wonder what they would say about how you handled it.
Let's go. Let's get them out of
We
here.
need to get the other side of this story.
Hey, I didn't.
They would say the.
Wow.
My contract was up. They didn't have me under contract after December, and so it's just it was weird timing. It was like it all kind of just happened for a weird reason, and I ended up I stayed away. I had a non-compete for I think it was 2 months. So I announced in February the next year that I was going with America's Card Room, and it's been rainbows and butterflies ever since.
That's dope. So that's not your only new thing going on. You have a poker room now as well.
I do. I have a poker room in Paducah, Kentucky, which you'd have to Google it because no one knows where it is.
Paducah.
Yeah, Paducah. It's on the west side of Kentucky. It's a smaller poker room. It was designed to basically see if I could run a poker room without being there.
Okay.
Doug Polk and all these guys have poker rooms, but they're there all the time.
Yeah.
And it's obviously easier to run a business when you're on location. I don't have the ability to be on location all the time, so I wanted to see if I could open one up and run it remotely, hopefully to set up for future rooms. And so far, so good. I'm working on my second location right now, and then I'm working on a new poker tour that's going to be coming out eventually, I hope, if we could ever get everything in motion. I'm hiring different people to try to come in and take some of the pressure off me doing all my work, so I don't have to do anything.
Awesome.
Because I'm not really good at anything other than trying to play poker. So I'm telling
just showing up,
telling bad jokes.
Yeah, I'm here with you. I know all about this life.
Yeah, trust me, I know. I've seen, I've heard.
How complicated is it to open and run a poker room remotely?
Well, I did it, so it can't be hard.
I'm sorry. You're old news. Hi, Matt Hunt.
Hey, Conrad.
Hi, man. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What, is it because he's wearing a sulfur white shirt?
No, it's because
That's partly.
He's still alive with 52 left.
Matt Hunt.
Means a lot coming from a legend like yourself.
It's the British invasion now. He's gonna create the next boom.
It's true.
Hey, let's go.
There's not enough
Wait,
of us.
no.
There's only 60 million of us. Like, there's only so many people who
Wait,
can
no,
actually
That's a lot of poker players.
yeah, maybe.
Listen, if the Brits tank, I want you to get second.
Well, I appreciate that.
I think Brits are pretty good about playing fast.
No, I think so too.
It's the Germans.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying, Moneymaker? Like, it's the Germans. In your era, you didn't have to deal with the Germans. We're out here fighting World War III.
I don't play.
We're on the tanking wars now.
No, so, yeah, we've been talking about tanking. I don't play enough poker to really worry about the tanking, to be honest. What a lot of people don't know is I play probably 5 events a year.
What are you spending the majority of your time doing? Well, let me ask this question twofold. Like, what are you spending the majority of your time doing in general?
Matt Hunt's here, by the way. Let's talk to him.
We'll get you out here. I know
Chris
you
is
want to get
much
to the
more
beach.
important than me.
We're going to send you
I'm
those
not.
slides, but you have to just finish it up.
What do you spend the majority of your time doing, period? And then, like, as far as, like, play goes, is it more online or live these days?
Honestly, I'm a glorified taxi. I got 3 kids.
As being a dad does.
Yeah, I got
tends to
3
be.
kids. And that's the other thing during COVID. So, like, one of the decisions that, again, to join America's Card Room is PokerStars at that time wanted me to spend half my time up in Pennsylvania where poker's regulated. and half my time at home.
Pittsburgh's beautiful this time of year.
What's that?
Pittsburgh is beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, it sounds like so great. It was like minus 30 right now. So, and obviously with America's Card Room, like they gave me the ability to stay at home, and I don't want to travel. I've traveled for so long. I missed a lot of my kids growing up. I got my daughter here with me now, and I've missed a lot of them growing up because I was on the road quite a bit. I used to play a lot of PokerStars events. So now I basically get to stay at home. I play online a lot more. I play the Rat Hole and I play the tournaments on ACR. And then again, I run kids from point A to point B, whether it be soccer practice, school. They're always doing something. My oldest is old enough to drive, so at least I got out of that one. My second one's about to start driving.
It's nice when you can train a chauffeur.
It really is. Listen, her driving was the best thing that ever happened to our family because I can just tell her, go to the store, go get your brother. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, you can really leverage the car privilege too. It's just like you dangle the keys. It's like, you want these? Daddy needs dinner.
And they always say yes, but they want to drive. They want to drive. So
like, what's the alternative? Not driving? You know, it's just it.
Yep. She's over there laughing. She's always said yes. But no, it is nice having one that drives, and again, the second one's going to be driving. So me and my wife are actually going to be. I don't know what we're going to do. I might actually have to start playing poker again.
Yeah, you're not far from being an empty nester, 5 years
My
maybe?
youngest is 11.
Okay, so 7 years?
Yeah, well, I mean...
They move out at like 25
I was
now.
about to say...
What generation are you
Did
from?
they really move out at 18?
Well, here's the thing. If they're interested in poker at all, they can just move out at 18 and probably find their way into my office and or house.
It's true.
And I'll raise them for the next 10 years.
Let's go. All right. I'm getting your address as we leave here. Taylor,
lying.
you're moving out, baby.
He's lying. Next 30 years.
I can't wait for Landon to get his driver's license.
Poor Landon.
Poor Landon. Nobody feels bad for Landon right now.
Well, what's going on?
He lost his voice.
He lost his voice?
He has like laryngitis.
He probably just didn't want to come on the show.
I think so. I think so, yeah.
I'm losing my voice right now. Matt, you got to play here soon, Matt. You got to lose your voice so you can go prep. And
Yeah, I know, right?
Actually, you kind of look like you follow the Chris MoneyMaker regimen of training for poker. I mean, you're not out there meditating at 3 a.m., are you?
Not at 3 a.m. Every now and again, but not at 3 a.m. That's for sure.
Chris, me and you, man. It's me and you, all right? These guys, they might do some like meditation. They think about other things.
What are you pointing at?
I just want you to see the picture.
Why?
That is the Chris MoneyMaker regimen.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is peak malperformance, whether you like it or not.
And he's still in there, making the money, just
Hey, look,
killing it.
Look at this. This is MoneyMaker.
Live with it.
Amen.
That's my boy. Thank you so much, by the way, for coming, Chris. I really appreciate you. I know you had many important things to do, and your daughter's like looking really salty already at us. And you saved me, though. I was really wanting to get you on the show, and I appreciate you coming.
So they weren't going to allow you to be on the show?
No, they were like, she didn't bring a guest, like she can't come on the show anymore. And I was desperately searching. Nobody was going to be a friend, and I appreciate you.
To be fair, she had to beg us to let you on, but...
Yeah. We had a moment.
Well, first of all, I got on because Eric owes me. Eric was the one that actually took that picture. So he is permanently indebted to me.
It would seem that way.
Because that was horrible. He took the picture and somehow gave it to, when I was at PokerStars, stop putting the picture up. Sproggy was like my mortal enemy at PokerStars. Like he just did anything to get under my skin. I've got two of them at ACR. I got Rob Kuhn and John Potter. They both, whatever they can do to like get under my skin, they do. And Rob decided to go out there and post that on social media and got a lot of traction for that.
It's a great picture.
Yeah, it's a fantastic picture. It captures me out in the wild, for sure.
All jokes aside, I really do appreciate you doing this. You whether you realize it or not, you're an inspiration to so many of us. We grew up watching 2003 main event. Look, man, I was in a dorm room in college thinking I could beat 50 cents a dollar. Like, you absolutely sparked what is this massive booming industry right now. So I think that we all owe you a debt of gratitude, and here's the hoping that 15 minutes of fame doesn't flame out anytime soon. You know, you're just really riding it. We're here for it.
Listen, I've been on this ride for 20 years. It's been a long 15 minutes.
That's what I'm saying.
You've had the longest 15 minutes.
I have the longest 15 minutes. I like to think it's my good looks and my charming personality, but
honestly, I literally think it's your last name.
Well, I know it's not my poker skills, so I had to go with something. Yeah, but it's probably just my last name.
If nothing else confirms that we're living in a sim, the fact that a guy whose last name is MoneyMaker wins the main event on TV is like, what more can you ask for?
Chris, you want to adopt me? Conrad MoneyMaker, I can like be a star.
I think you're older than me.
Fuck.
You have the comedy down, so you'll be all right.
We'll figure it out.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Matt because he looks like he's ready to roll and he's ready to get. How many chips do you have, Matt?
2,075,000.
Stop bragging. All right.
So many.
Good luck to you today, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I do want to hear the secret, though. I want to hear the regimen you go through. I mean, because, again, like, we both look like we're in peak physical performance.
Absolutely.
I'm doing something wrong because I'm out and you're in, so let us know.
You really did fly under the radar yesterday, though. I saw you, and, I think somehow you managed to avoid like too much coverage. Not too many people know that you're out there a cold-blooded killer. But since we had the conversation yesterday about you checking your tables, looking people up first, I was like, well, other people must not be doing this, or maybe,
I don't know. I got a few good spots, and here we are, I guess. So I don't know if I have an explanation beyond that, but I'm glad to be here.
Congratulations on your final table hunt.
Well, you called my. You said I was going to bag chip lead.
Listen, man,
and you were 6 spots off. I bagged 7th. So.
Yeah, I'm not always perfect in life, but I'm usually pretty close.
Also, Landon continues to be the swap god.
He is the swap god.
Swapping with Landon is the key. That's I swapped 2% with Landon.
This kid is so insufferable. Last night, he staggers out of his room after napping for, I don't know, a day and a half, and he comes up to me and I tell him that you're still in. He's like, let's go, whatever. And then he starts sweating the chip counts, right?
Yeah.
Like 1 through 15. And he goes, let's play a game. And I'm like, don't want to play a game. And he goes, no, let's play a game. And he starts going through the top 15 chip counts, telling me the people that he has 75% degree confidence that he could have swapped with had he asked. He's like, God. I'm pretty sure he would have swapped with me, and he would have swapped with me, and he would have swapped. I'm like, I don't
This game sucks. This is a terrible. You didn't even actually swap? Like, this is a potential swap, maybe a game?
This is the worst sweat ever.
Yeah. This is a bad game.
Like, we have one person in. That's the only person whose chip count I care about. Sure. I don't care about the missed opportunity of swaps that you had whenever this guy could still make you 80K. Like, let's focus here.
I think the poker community needs to come together and give Landon a 90-day no swap.
Wow.
Ooh.
90 days no swap. Nobody in the poker community.
It might be like his exit. That might just be it. He's gone. He disappears from poker forever.
Just kill Landon's career.
Just lost 3 months worth of revenue. What do you do?
Who's on your table today?
I have Chance, and I have Daniel Devoris.
Oh,
and
good.
I have,
yay.
Yeah, some tough players. A couple of Brazilians and a couple of short stacks. There's like probably like 20% of the field left is Brazilians. There's a lot of Brazilians here.
Really?
Well, I don't know 20%, but like there's at least probably 5 or 6 of them. I played with 2 or 3 of them over the course of yesterday.
Yeah, I played with a couple on day 2 and day 3 as well. Very solid, but they didn't have a ton of chips. So
I think I read that the total field, Poker News published the numbers for which nationality had which number of players. I think there was 43 Brazilians out of the 1,014 players.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And like there's multiple of them left with 52 left. So it's they're a strong country these days, poker-wise.
That is a strong country. I was asked to leave, sorry. I'm going to take off.
Is it clear how many of them bought in or how many won passes?
See if I go.
At least one of them's a Platinum Pass winner. Thank you. Appreciate it, Chris. At least one of them's a Platinum Pass winner because I played with him yesterday.
Nope, not your fault.
Chris, don't walk in front of the cameras, to the side. Thank you.
But I think the majority of the ones that are left are pros. Like there are guys that I played with yesterday who, like, either I recognize their name or like I look them up and it's like this guy's definitely a pro, or just they just play like pros. You can just kind of tell. So I think there's just a lot of good Brazilian pros out there these days. Did
you get into some tough spots yesterday? I want to hear about some tough spots against some tough players.
Yeah. actually, I got probably the two most eventful hands that I played were against, I think his name is Bruno Volkmann. He's Brazilian. He was to my direct left for like half the day, and he put me in two tough bluff catching spots, and thankfully I just had the best hand both times. But he did some stuff that I wasn't expecting, and put me in some uncomfortable spots. But thankfully, so far this tournament, every time I call the river, they don't have it, so it's pretty easy when it goes that way.
It's a pretty good feeling. I saw you put a tweet out. I think it was yesterday, where you called off your tournament life with.
Yeah, that was on day 2 with second
okay.
pair. Yeah, that was like I had Queen Jack and I flopped top pair on Jack 3-4, the big blind, check raised, and then just blasted off on Jack 3-4, Ace 6, I think it was. Like no complete flush draw or anything like that. And I called, and he just had like King Deuce.
Ooh.
It feels like a pretty comfortable call.
Yeah,
on the Jack 3-4. I mean, it's like
it felt like it because it was a line where like, I mean, once I see that he has King Deuce, like my suspicion that he was going to over bluff in that line is probably very accurate.
Yeah,
that's like a way overboard bluff candidate for that line. So like I didn't take that long to call, but it was like one of those moments where like he shoves the river and I'm like, okay, I probably have to call here. Like I sort of felt like, okay, I know I'm probably going to end up calling here.
Yeah.
But it was one of those times where like I could have taken another couple of minutes to like make peace with the fact that I might bust this tournament.
Yeah.
But after a minute, I was like, I'm going to end up calling here. What the fuck am I waiting for? So I just called after like 20 seconds, and he just flips over King Deuce, and I was just very happy.
Yeah. I like to, I don't know if it's worth anything, but in spots where like I'm 100% positive I'm putting chips in, I like to take a beat just to try to take in like any physical things I can notice.
Yeah, I did give him a look down, but he was one of those Eastern European guys who's very stoic. So
yeah, it's not even that you're necessarily going to see anything. It's just a matter of like, you're about to get perfect information. So if you can tie it to anything that like you happen to observe.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That makes sense.
I try to like pay some sort of attention to mannerisms or whatever. It's like baselining people, you know?
Yeah, I've been trying to like remember to do that, but it's still one of those things where having not played live as long as someone like you, like it's still not quite ingrained in me to like be constantly on the lookout for that stuff. So it's a good reminder.
It's also one of those things where like at the end of the day, if it's not even necessarily a benefit, right? Like if you can't trust what you saw anyway, which to be fair, we're pretty bad at this as far as like, trying to figure out like what is actually consistent versus bias. I've probably helped myself a lot throughout my career, but there's definitely been times where I think that I've interjected something I saw where it actually wasn't there.
Right. And especially in those bluff catching spots, like it can be very easy to like not be able to find where the line is of where some kind of bias is creeping in versus where you're actually looking at information that is reliable and using it to help you.
Because you're always going to weight your decision on like what you kind of really want to do.
Yeah,
in the back of your head.
Exactly.
It's
like there's always going to be some part of you that either wants to call or wants to fold.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The battle is like negotiating, like trying to find the logic that leads you to a decision that makes sense and not just the decision that you want to do, and the ability to be in a spot where you really want to call, but you recognize that you shouldn't, or vice versa. Like that's a really, really important skill.
Absolutely.
I spoke to Fedor yesterday, and he was explaining his sort of thought process in calling a hand where he had 2 pair, but on the bubble and for a large amount of his stack. And he was saying, I was thinking about in the very pre-flop that he had taken a little bit more time than he was normally taking for his decision. So I had to factor that in. And in my mind, I was just thinking, there's 8 people every time that are having a pre-flop decision, and that you're remembering when we're on the river exactly how much time someone. I'm just like,
we're very astute.
Are you really doing this like every hand on the bubble? Even I was like, you're a robot. You're amazing.
I think that way as well, but it's not that you think about it the whole way through the hand. It's that you noticed it when it happened.
Yeah. And
then whenever you arrive at this final decision point, you think back to that and say like, oh, remember when he took a little bit extra time? That changes his range. Like it weights him to some portion of his range. And the second that happens, it's like, oh, that weighted portion isn't helpful here.
Right. And I think it's also like you sort of build up a skill of pattern recognition with people's behaviors, in that a lot of the time, if nothing stands out, like your brain is just, you're going to continue thinking about something else. But then if some action occurs where suddenly someone does take longer, or they act quicker, or they put their chips in a different way,
it disturbs the normal
pattern. It just
pattern.
like there's a little alarm bell that just kind of rings in your head, and you just note that because that's part of it breaks the sequence of actions that you're accustomed to seeing. You know.
Yeah, I think that's.
Can I ask you guys a really random question that I always want to know? Does it feel better to get like just a really gross bluff through, or does it feel better to make a sick hero call?
Sick hero call, not even close.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Because you get to show it and you get all the accolades.
The bluff is just relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bluff is it's exactly right. It's like there's tension because you don't want them to call, and then when they don't call, you just everything settles down again, and there's no moment where it's like a confrontation of people have to show hands and get to show that you have the best hand. You know what I mean? So I think hero.
But let's say it's like on the feature table on the stream, like everyone's gonna know that you totally just dominated someone else.
Well, let's ask Berkey because I've never successfally bluffed on a feature table. So
today is the day.
I was going to 3-bet Queen 5 the other day and didn't get it through. So let's ask Berkey.
There is a little bit extra pride, I guess, attached to it. But I think again, like the calls are still just worth more because if you fold incorrectly, like it works basically in the inverse, right? So. When I'm playing on a feature table, I try not to think about the fact that everybody's going to get to see the hands and that it's going to slant me one way or the other because at this point I've just reached acceptance and I don't care what people think, or at least I mostly don't care. But when I first started playing feature tables, I refused to be bluffed. And the problem with that is people bluff less on feature tables. So like I just paid a lot with like really close spots. And the reason is because of what you're saying. Like, it seems like it's going to be more embarrassing if you make an incorrect fold in a spot that's like really close. Where when nobody's watching, I do things like when nobody's watching that in real time, I can actually say like this is quantifiably bad. But I'm being pulled to this decision for one reason or another, and I just have to kind of trust that I'm being led that way because though it may be bad, it's only like marginally bad. Like I'm passing on a 0 EV spot or something along those lines. But something is just like there's alarm bells going off on me saying that like I should just do this, and it looks ridiculous. There was a hand that I played against Justin Young and Bob Bright on high stakes, not high stakes poker after dark on Poker Go, and it went Bob Bright open under the gun. I either 3-bet or flatted with jacks. I don't recall. And then Justin either 3-bet or cold called with queens. But I think it went Bob opened, I flatted with jacks, Justin squeezed with queens, Bob called, and then I back 4-bet with 2 jacks. And Justin tanked for a long time. We were very deep and just decided, like I was trapping Bob, and he was right. I was. And he folded. And I think like that hand would just I could never fold queens on a live stream in that spot. Never. Even if I thought it was absolutely perfectly correct. I just couldn't. Because it's like this is just so bad and everybody's gonna see that it's so bad. I can't justify to myself of trusting my gut to this degree because like if Berkey shows up with ace-5 suited here, I'm going to jump off a bridge.
It's also why live streams are so fun because there's this added element of just like bravado or something that creates really interesting poker spots.
Well, because you're putting your skill on display, right, and like it's difficult to really show or showcase your understanding of the meta. So like when he's right in that spot. He doesn't get enough kudos because it's just like this
everyone
guy,
can see the cards.
Yeah, well,
we all would have done it too.
And also, it's like, well, you were just an idiot and got lucky, kind of thing. But when he's wrong, it's just absolutely roasted. Yeah. And I've probably been on both sides of it, where it's just like, eventually, like Justin doesn't give a shit, and more power to him for it. And eventually, like if you're good enough and play on live stream long enough, like Garrett is amazing at this, just like folding the second nuts routinely, correctly, right? But he's built up enough of a track record where whenever he gets it wrong a few times, nobody's really going to flame him for it.
You know what's really depressing? It's when you make that hero call and the other person decides to like just take their hand face down and throw it in the muck. It's like, no, you flip that over because I have king high and I want to show you.
I had a spot yesterday where this has not happened to me before, and it was weirdly like annoying because it just made no sense for the guy to do this. So this guy, I had a spot where I was just after the bubble. Guy opens just to like min raise. I think he's a wreck. a short stack shoves for like 10 bigs. I have ace queen and I have like 19 bigs and I reshove over the top. And the guy announces fold. He says, I fold, but I have headphones on. And so I say, did you say fold? And like, he doesn't muck his cards. And I say, I'm like confirming that he folded because I don't want to show my hand if he like, if I've misread the action. And he was like, yeah, I fold, but I want to see your hand. I was like, you're going to see my hand anyway. Like, so I just flipped over my hand. I had ace queen off. And then he like had ace queen of diamonds and was folding it. But for some bizarre reason, decided to like keep hold of his cards and not put them in the muck, allowing the dealer to deal the hand until after I had shown my hand. But I wouldn't show my hand until I confirmed that he was folding.
Right.
So I was like, I was so baffled. Like, why are you waiting to see my hand when
You're not even in the hand
like you've literally,
anymore.
yeah,
Don't
you're like,
worry about it.
You've already folded. And it was just the most confusing thing. And the guy was like being like mildly confrontational about it. And then he like shows the ace queen to show me that I have less outs. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? Very strange, very
Less outs,
strange
but
situation.
more balls.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And I won anyway. So,
Queen on the flop.
I just made a flush. So,
Oh, nice
you know,
life.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, so it's a shame he folded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks that he
Well, he
folded.
would have lost, but yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I saved money, and I was like, still just confused about why he was just doing all this bullshit with his cards.
Because
but,
this is
you know,
what live
whatever.
guys do, man. We're all about results. It's results-oriented thinking. You know?
I
Everybody's-
never understand why people have this weird etiquette about showing cards. It's like as soon as you know that you're gonna have to show your cards, just show your cards. Like people who do this dance or have a
Listen,
funeral for their hand or whatever, I'm like, just get on with it.
You know, like the things like this is what makes live poker amazing. It's like the people that, you know, have funerals for their hands and stuff like that. It just makes it good.
What he's really saying is they're losing in the field.
Yes.
Yeah,
Aisles.
yeah. I mean, I know that's true.
Thank you, Berkey.
Did you? So you know, we spoke yesterday about you look people up, you make sure you kind of know what's going on, get a gauge. Did you? It was long. Yesterday was long, but did you spend time? Do players like yourself spend time on dinner after play reviewing some of the features?
I was trying to read the Poker News updates, especially while we were on the bubble because hand for hand took forever and I just had nothing to do other than that. So I was trying to like read the updates and keep up to date with like who's left in, who's got chips, like trying to read hands where I could.
But you're not like watching the stream while you're playing.
No, I didn't want to like try to complicate things like that, like trying to focus on two things at once, you know, like I'll either listen to music without lyrics or I'll just have my headphones on noise canceling mode, so I'll just like it'll just be quiet. I don't like to like have any kind of other stimulus while I'm playing unless it's a tournament unless it's like just sort of a minor event that I'm like in danger of getting a bit bored. Like if I was playing some of the satellites earlier this week and I was like listening to podcasts and stuff like that, but like that's the stuff where if you're just short the whole time, you don't really need to focus like super hard. So
Were you listening to the Only Friends podcast?
100%.
actually, I've been listening to that before we start every morning.
See?
But
You
you
see?
know, I've been listening to the podcast I listen to lately. I've been listening to actually we mentioned it the other day, the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast.
Oh,
the
yeah,
cast
yeah.
of the cast of that have a
Yeah.
podcast. I've been listening to that lately.
This
but
is happening more and more with sitcoms. I think it's genius.
they get their own podcast.
Yeah, there's like a Boy Meets World podcast.
No way.
I think there's is there a Friends podcast? I can't remember, but I know like more of them are spinning
Yeah.
off into.
I know the two siblings from The Sopranos have their own
Yes,
podcast
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
They do. So I don't tend to like distract myself too much.
But like, let's say play tonight. Let's say we play a short day today, and you've got a lot of time in the night. Are you gonna go over the 3 feature tables before the final table
I'm
tomorrow?
gonna try, but I'm also gonna prioritize like making sure that I rest up and that I'm prepared for tomorrow, because playing my best tomorrow, if I make it, is gonna make much more of a difference than any little piece of information I might find. And then like yesterday on dinner, I actually, because I have an Airbnb that's like a 15-minute walk from here, I actually walked back, took a shower, like I had to do laundry because I was like, shit, if I'm still here on Friday, I don't have any clothes left to wear. So I was like doing laundry on dinner break and stuff like that and walked back over here. But that was actually kind of nice because it gave me a chance to like refresh and have a bit more energy for the last few hours, you know. So I try to keep up with that stuff where I can, but I'm always going to prioritize like how am I actually feeling? Am I feeling like I can play my best? And I'm not going to compromise how I'm feeling for the sake of a little bit of extra info about.
Well, if it's
opponents.
any consolation, you're not going to have a short day today. You guys are playing to the final table.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to have a short day.
It's going to be a marathon.
What's your situation look like? How many big blinds do we have?
Like 52, 53,
nice.
something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
we've got 2.075. Yeah, 52 because we're coming back to 20K, 40K.
Awesome.
So, yeah, so we're in good shape. I have the biggest stack at my table. There's a couple of other stacks in the 1.6, 1.7 area, but there's also multiple 20 big blinds and below. I think Chance has like 20 bigs. I think there's someone with like 5 bigs, and then there's someone with 13, I think, something like that. So a pretty decent mix of stacks, but I'm the biggest stack at my table, which is nice. And we dodged Fedor's table, which is also nice. You know, I think he's probably the best player left in the field.
It doesn't matter. You're going to put him on a poster. Wanted. Missing.
Yeah.
Missing poster.
Have you played with Chance before?
Very briefly, like once at a win event like a few months back, just for literally like 20 minutes. I'm pretty confident he doesn't know me. We have a few friends in common, but I don't think he knows anything about me. So
But he could be dangerous with 20 big blinds for sure.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Chance is someone I'm definitely watching out for.
Everybody.
I think it's interesting to say Fedor's, like, you're pretty confident that Fedor is the best player left. There's so many awesome players. It's interesting to hear, like, why, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what makes you think that?
I think it's just a question of him having the most experience out of anybody in really high pressure spots. Like, he's been at all these big final tables where, like, we're playing for 4 million. Like, he's made scores bigger than that, I think. And he's played buy-ins bigger than this. And other guys have too. Like, Chance probably has, Daniel Dvoris I'm sure has, and everything. But Fedor just has the combination of obviously being an elite level player, but also having enough experience that you can be pretty sure that there's nothing that could happen in the late stages of this event that might cause him to be off his game in some way. And I think that makes someone obviously very tough to play against, especially when a lot of the field is going to be in a position where they've never played for 4 million at a final table
Well,
or
and these
something before.
ICM moments are huge, and today
Exactly.
and tomorrow, and
there's going to be some big spots coming up for everybody. So I think Fedor's just stands the best chance of not being affected if he gets into like a tough spot and things like that. But thankfully, he only has like 24 big blinds, so you know, fingers crossed he just loses a flip early on, and we don't have to worry about him.
The bubble seems to have had a pretty major impact on the structure. The chip leader only has 86 bigs right now for a pretty well structured event. That's not all that deep. Do you expect that there's going to be a bit of a consolidation phase taking place now, and we're going to see people spring up the leaderboard, or do you think that the play is going to kind of slow to a crawl?
I would think so. The way I tend to look at it is a tournament's supposed to last a certain length of time, and if there's a condensing at any point where it goes really slowly, like if there's a really long bubble or a really slow hand for hand or whatever, then there has to be a compensation for that later on. Like there has to be, if everybody gets really short, then there has to be a corresponding, like,
boom, 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 boom.
people bust out, right? And we had like 50 bust outs in an hour after the bubble or something, right? So if we get to the point where there's a bunch, like if we go through a couple levels now, like once we get through the first 2 levels, we're going to be, the third level of today is going to be 60K big blind. Like if we get to that point and, you know, we have lost a bunch of players, like there might be a bit of a phase where with, I don't know, 35 left or something, like we might start to see the stacks deepen a little bit. Like it's hard to really say, but it's always the case that if one phase goes really quickly, then it has to slow down later, and if one phase goes really slow, it has to like speed up later. So it's there's always a compensation.
I think
you kind of predict that.
Yeah, I think the struggle is that because of ICM incentives, it should continually push that phase backward. So it very well could be something where you actually see that phase play out at the final table.
Yeah,
average stack might be like 18 blinds, 12 blinds.
That's what
like that.
kind of does happen in a lot of these events, that you get that stage gets pushed back and back and back because everybody keeps folding and folding and folding.
And then it compounds and compounds.
Right, and I remember watching the final table of the PSPC in 2019, and I remember they were very short.
Yeah.
So there were some ICM spots there, and yeah, you certainly have to kind of have a good awareness of what the nature of those spots is ICM wise, and it's also important not to like trick yourself into thinking that this a spot with high ICM is the same as a spot with a big pay jump, because that's not necessarily the same thing. Like people do this in the main event, they talk about how big the pay jumps are, But in proportion to the prize pool, the pay jumps in the main event are actually quite steep. And the main event is a very top-heavy event. And this event is relatively top-heavy as well, because it had very like flat payouts at the beginning, and then it kind of ramps up quite a lot. You know, like we've only got like the first 6-figure payout is like 27th.
Yeah.
But there's 4 million for first, you know. So like it's actually a relatively top-heavy structure. So there's a lot of weird navigating that happens where you've got like some flat payouts and then you've got some really steep payouts. So it's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out and who's left there at the end.
Are you excited to play a feature table? I mean, the assumption is if you're not starting at a feature table today and you last for any duration, you're almost certain to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's obviously an experience that you don't get very often, especially in an environment like this. I think if you gave me the choice, I would rather just not have to worry about it, because it's an extra set of considerations that, you know, it just makes you more self-conscious. Like it gives away information. There's all sorts of things. There's all sorts of reasons why being on a feature table isn't necessarily what everybody wants. But at the same time, it's a unique experience. You know, it's not something you get very often. And I'm certainly coming into today with the attitude of this is the kind of spot that may never happen again. Like I might never go deep in this event again, even if I play it every year, you know. So I'm just going to try to enjoy today and see what happens.
This is what dreams are made of, hon.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Like this is literally what dreams are made of. You know,
guess that's true.
And it's time for you to get it popping, baby.
That's the plan.
It's fucking time.
That's the plan.
What are they playing down to? Final 8 or final 6?
I don't know, actually. I think they usually do final 6 because they did final 6 at PCA.
I thought it was final 6 too, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I would assume it's probably final 6. At least
Okay.
that's what, like, I came into today thinking it would probably be final 6. But
It's gonna be a long day.
yeah, it will be. So I'm ready for it.
Good. I have nothing else to ask you, so I'm going to kind of turn attention to a really feel-good story that came out of yesterday to wrap on. He's actually going to join us tomorrow morning, briefly. Yep. Huge shout-out to Platinum Pass winner, and I should say, like, Freeroll Platinum Pass winner, actually, Glenn Cragen.
So good.
Now it's time to do work.
We've actually already spoken about Glenn a few times. Every morning when we walk in, he was like the first person who would greet us at the door. It turns out, and I didn't realize it because he was using his online moniker, but he's actually in our Discord channel, was posting updates every single day.
Yeah, I saw. That was great. I told him he should come say hi to you or me if he sees us.
Yeah. So we actually saw him every day walking into the podcast. He would give us his update, and we were hopeful that he would score. He ended up laddering, cashed for $46K, but this was all on a stone free roll.
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
he won his way into a 1K. From the 1K, won the Platinum Pass. From the Platinum Pass, made his way down to the final 100 or so. Cashes for $46K. Obviously a lifetime score for him. And Sarah had the pleasure of interviewing him yesterday. We got a little bit of a tidbit of what his plans are moving forward.
Overwhelmed, excited, like just pouring out excitement. This means to me that I probably will not be going back to road construction this summer. I'm going to go and try to grind the cash tables and the weekly tournaments in my local casino and try to make a go at it and make a living that way and just see what happens, man.
He's living the MoneyMaker dream.
He is.
He really is.
He's parlaying a free roll into a score into a professional poker career.
Yeah, and who knows what happens from there, you know?
Yeah. I'm excited to talk to him tomorrow. I mean, he's obviously just like over the moon, and I'm pumped to see somebody who is like a member of our community do so well and set himself up in a position where he could potentially do this semi-professionally, professionally, whatever he may choose to do. I'll probably give him a few bits of warning, I guess. This is not for the faint of
advice.
Well,
maybe?
this is just not for the faint of heart.
I'm just gonna show him my face. Hey, buddy. Look here.
And
This could be you.
40K, of course, will go really fast.
Yep.
And that's like, let's ask. When you come to a tournament like this, right? You expect, let's say you're going to spend 10 days somewhere at a tournament series. How much money do you expect you will lose?
This one's special.
Yeah, I mean, let's take the 25K. Let's just say a standard tournament.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I think it's in general, you want to make sure that before you go to a series like that, you have a clear idea of what tournaments you're going to be playing and how many bullets you're going to allow yourself in each one, right? So, like, you...
Everyone busting going to the registration line. What's up next?
Right. So, like, you want to have a clear idea of, like, what percentage of your bankroll you're allocating to each sort of series that you're playing. And you also want to make sure that you don't make any assumptions, or that in particular, the thing that I think is most important is that you don't want your future plans to be dependent on the result of a specific event. So you don't want to be like, if I cash this, then I'm going to play this, or if I final table this, then I'm going to play that. Because then when you're in that first event, you're thinking about, I want to final table this so that I can play this, or I can play that, or whatever else. So you're making plans based on the outcome of the event that you're currently in. And that's just never going to be able to allow you to play your best. So I would just look at it as take an amount of money or spend an amount of money that if you were to not cash anything, you'd be completely cool with that money just being gone. And then you can plan for, whatever the worst case scenario is. And then obviously the worst case scenario very rarely happens. So usually you're going to end up better off than that. But it's much better being in that position than it is where, you come for like a big event and then you just say, okay, well, I'm going to take this amount of money and then I'm going to cash a couple things and I'll have enough money left over for the main event. And then suddenly you just don't cash anything and you can't play the event that you went there for, So like you just have to plan carefully, basically.
I think that makes a lot
Just
of
be rich.
sense.
Yeah, being rich is nice.
Be rich is also helpful. Yeah.
Be
very
rich.
nice.
Know someone rich.
No schedule. No, not it doesn't even matter how much money you bring. You just find it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Usually like 20K, probably 25K.
That is true. I came here empty pockets.
Wow, really?
And you're
Yeah.
broke.
And I played 200, 400. I played a 25K. I played a 10K.
Well, yeah, but you know everybody. You know every single person who's ever played poker, so that probably helps.
I'm coming to realize that, and I need to get a lot better at this, I do not know the Europeans.
No.
Like, outside of the ones who actually come to America and play often. So there are, like, a lot of killers
What?
that I'll just be hearing about for the first time.
This is what happens when you refuse to travel outside America.
Listen, my refusal is not because I have no interest in culture or seeing these other geographical places. I do. My refusal is that I know myself very well, and I'm a tag-along type. So if I don't have someone interesting to travel with that will make me do things other than be in a casino, it'll look like this trip. I spent this entire trip at a table playing or at this desk.
I've had so much fun this trip. I don't know about you, but it's been great. There's stuff outside to do. There's a beach.
I'm going to the beach today.
There's a lot of things to do.
I will be red tomorrow.
Are we going to Barcelona in August?
I cannot make a commitment.
I'm not talking to you. Hunter, we going to
Hunt is going
Barcelona
to
in
Barcelona.
August?
Probably. I would love to go to Barcelona.
Hunt,
All right, we're going to
Hunt is
Barcelona
for
in
sure there.
August.
Okay, but
Spain is
did you come here, Conrad, we were talking before the show, did you come here with like a certain amount of money that you're like, this is how much money I'm going to spend,
So-
or these are the tournaments I'm going to play?
You're
or,
asking Conrad, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, kind of. But my journey started in Florida. So like I brought like 20,
Like every good
My journey
does.
started.
so I brought like 25 to Florida or something like that. And yeah, I was just kind of just playing it by ear and just gonna move money around and just figure it out.
So really going by the Hunt policy. You
Right.
were
Very, very well
hard-
prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is what I did. I looked at the schedule and then I said, "Which corners do I want to play?" So then I took the schedule sheet and I said, "Okay, I'm going to play these tournaments, as in all of them." And then I added them up and I was like, "Okay, so if like 20, 25,000 should be okay."
And at least, like, if you're going to Florida, you're still in the U.S., so you can just go to a bank and get money if you
Yeah,
need to.
I
Like,
can
it's a
figure
lot
it out.
different when you're coming to a different country and you have to really figure out.
Banks are the worst, man.
Yeah, I mean,
tried
no
to
one
send-
likes banks.
It's
I
like-
tried to send a wire to here, like Friday prior to this week coming up, and Bank of America just like closed my account.
Well,
What?
yeah.
I have to like go to the they won't let me do anything. I can't send a Venmo until I go
my
back to the
God.
States and walk in the office and say like, no, that was me in the Bahamas.
Wow.
Yeah, you're a red flag type of guy. That's why you got stopped in the airport and stuff like that. Connie?
It's that sweater, dude.
You got stopped in the airport?
I
Yeah,
guess I'm the airport.
apparently my passport was reported as lost or stolen.
Red flag Berkey.
But I have it.
Yeah. That's
It was your
Super
bank,
weird.
dude. Your bank was
Probably.
like, this guy's sketchy.
Yeah.
Just
Your bank just contacted the authorities and were like, something weird is going on. Cancel his passports.
Somebody
Like, this guy
kidnapped
doesn't
him.
travel.
Somebody kidnapped this man.
What about you, Berkey? How did you plan your?
I
sort of-
didn't. I literally took $10,000 to Florida, and I ended up playing the main event 5 times, which cost me 17,000, 14,000. What's 35 times 5? Help me out here.
Yeah,
17.5.
you're right the first time.
Yeah. So somehow I was already 7,500 in debt by the time I had left Florida, and I came here and I played. I needed 50K for cash, 25K for a tournament, 10K for a tournament. I don't know how I played everything.
You know why? Because it's sunny outside in the Bahamas. It's 83 degrees. Beautiful weather.
Where's this going?
And everybody has money, so it's okay.
How
Everyone is
often
rich.
do you pay with cash? Like, how often are poker players paying into $10,000 tournaments or $25,000 tournaments with cash? Does anyone do? I mean, I've seen a lot of
Personally?
it at the WSOP,
I would
but
say a lot. Not here,
Almost
though.
exclusively.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's why this trip was so hard
yeah,
because I can't just
can't bring the money.
bring cash with me.
Yeah.
And moving crypto isn't as easy as like here. It's not that easy because in order to exchange it for cash or in order to like sell it and get cash or a wire, somebody had to have wired.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's like we're all running into the same issue.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, the international trips are a super headache. So this is also why I don't
Yeah,
go
that's
to
totally
Europe.
fair.
I mean, not for nothing. This is actually really smooth for me. I planned a weekend ahead, you know. I
Casinos
wired
are
money
weird,
like
too,
a normal
like-
person.
Casinos are weird. I was like, can I get like a cashier's check or a traveler's check or something like that? And they're like, absolutely not. We will never take that.
Why is that, though?
Really?
I
'Cause
think
they can
because of
fake
money
'em?
laundering aspects,
Oh, yeah.
right? But it is kind of weird. It's like, well,
But the banks are like the biggest money launderers.
Of
there
course.
are. So, like, what's going on?
they're like,
just have to pretend like
actually,
they're not.
yeah, they're like, actually, we just really want you to pay a $30 wire fee, okay? Like, that's the only way this is going
It's
to be acceptable.
40.
For who?
The wire.
It's 30.
I paid 40.
Oh, you got
Fuck.
ripped off. You're on the wrong bank.
I'm calling Chase.
I paid 45. I'm definitely in the
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Yeah.
Where is your bank?
Wells Fargo.
Oh, no.
Boom.
Everybody stay away from Wells Fargo.
That was
Yeah.
my first bank in Vegas. They closed my account real fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a year.
Yikes. All right.
They're just like,
I didn't realize that this was a thing.
oh yeah, like a lot of banks won't do business with gamblers because it's an all cash business. So it's like there's extra red tape. You got to jump through hoops. It's annoying. Well, I mean, it's annoying for us. For them, it's probably just like less profitable.
Yeah, of course.
Or
I might be
More
saved on
scrutiny.
account of having a joint account with my wife.
yeah.
Mm.
They might just be like, one of them's a poker player, but the other one's not. So we're kind of all right.
I mean, I've been with Bank of America for 14 years. And this is the first issue I've run into.
Oh, that's not too
But
bad.
I have a very strong suspicion that I'm gonna walk in and they're either gonna tell me like my account's closed, here's your money back, or it's gonna be like this long interrogation where I have to fill out a ton of paperwork.
Mhm.
All because
Which
I
one are you
just-
hoping for? I mean, it has to be one or the other. Which
Whichever
would
one
you-
cost me less time, to
Okay.
be quite
That's
honest.
what I kind of
There are
figured.
other banks. I don't give that much of a shit. But that's going to do it for us today. We're going to get out of here, let Hunt go out there and make us all rich, baby.
That's the plan.
Let's
Congratulations
go.
on your final table.
Actually,
Get rich.
there's one more thing I need to address on air. I have to get this on the record before we go. Am I going to lose you as our head of content if you win?
Oh, no, you're not.
Okay.
We just talked the other day about how I need to keep coaching because otherwise I'll be shit at poker after a while.
What the fuck
Look
do you
at
need
this
poker
hum-
for? You're going to be rich.
I'm not gonna be that rich.
This guy is
I don't
so
have all of myself.
fucking humble.
No, I understand, but like, $1 million plus, that's rich.
Yeah, but we'll just
We're from
we'll
humble
cross that,
beginnings,
we'll cross
Hunt.
that bridge when we come to it.
All right, fine.
Let's not go
We're trying to
anywhere.
get an on-air commitment like right now.
I'm trying to get like
on tape.
like
We
a soft
literally-
contract.
We literally talked about it for like the last 12 hours.
I was like, I really want him to win, but this is going to be a problem.
No, you're fine. I'm
All
good.
right, give me at least till the World Series.
You might have to pay me more, but otherwise.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
You're going to pay him with the money he paid you.
No, you see what he did? You see what he did? He just threw it back on me. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if you're going to put me in the corner, then you're going to help me more
Exactly.
money. I respect that a lot. All right, we're going to be back tomorrow for the final episode from PCA Bahamas. I'm going to be sweating Hunt. Obviously, we'll talk about this off air, but if you want me to follow along, happy to do it. I'll have phone
Sure.
in hand all day long on the beach because I'm getting fucking burnt today.
All right.
That's it for us. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. East Coast. We'll see you then.
Later.
Guys.
Deuces.